Hey everyone, welcome back to More Flesh of Bad, and today I want to share a very exciting announcement, and that is that we've hit 1K subscribers, which is a really cool milestone, especially since I think it was just like 15 days ago or so. We were at like 700 subscribers, which is really, really cool, and kind of a weird blindside, I guess, to kind of what we kind of expected the channel to grow to. So wanted to thank you all for your continued support on the channel and welcome all the new people who've joined in the last like couple weeks or so. Yeah, but for our kind of like 1K, I did make a joke that we are going to do like a Wilson unboxing, so we'll do that here in a second. But I just wanted to personally thank you all for enjoying the content. I think Tegan and I kind of started out as kind of like just normal like Zen gameplay, just to kind of like do some daily gameplay, that kind of thing. Then it quickly evolved into like memes and then also kind of like educational-ish discussion videos, which we've also kind of been a big fan of. So I like to think that our channel is kind of like a little bit of a mix between like very hinged content where we're doing like gameplay and like good strats and that kind of thing. And then we do some like unhinged gameplay where we just do like memes and stuff. So we've kind of had a lot of fun making the channel and thumbnails and ancestral harmony edits. So I just want to thank you all for liking the content that we like to make. Yeah, but with that, we'll go ahead and follow up on our promise to unbox Wilson. So I'll go grab the cat to do a Wilson unboxing. I have acquired Wilson. So this is Wilson. I think you've seen him probably in a couple videos. He's our big white cat who's also kind of sad looking. Say hi to the camera, Wilson. Oh, he looks he looks so mad. Okay. But anyways, we are going to be doing a cat unboxing video. So I will go ahead and remove the cone of shame. His beans are looking a lot better, so it's probably honestly about time to take him out of the cone anyways. But we will maybe return you to the cone depending on how you're doing. So let's go ahead and unbox this cat. Okay, buddy. I'm sorry. It's really hard to do with one hand. All right. There we go. He's free from the cone. And let's see that face. Come on, buddy. How you doing? How you feeling, Wilson? You feel better without the cone? Yeah, buddy. Oh boy. All right, he's squirming around. All right, I'm going to temporarily release the cat on good behavior. If he starts licking, though, I might return him to the cone. But for now, he's being a good boy. Yeah, but with that, I've fulfilled my 1,000 subscriber promise. We'll probably do like some other fun stuff for 1,000 subscribers. We're just kind of out of ideas at this point. Yeah, but thank you all for your continued support, and we'll go ahead and just get into the video. Yeah, so for 1,000 subs, I wanted to kind of just return to Zen, because Zen is how this channel started. It's kind of how this channel has continued, and I think we kind of owe it to Zen now that he's kind of nearing his old age. That I think we just kind of go over like a little bit of Zen deck tech. So this is a little bit of a synthesis between some of like the Nick Butcher lists and also like other lists we saw from like Naib and other friends. So I wanted to kind of quickly go over some choices here and like talk about like sideboarding strategy and kind of stuff like that. So equipment suite, nothing to talk about here. Normal equipment suite. Let's take a look kind of at some of the overall stats for the deck. So we're running, I think, 30 blues, 30 reds main deck. I think I was originally on like a 29 blue, 31 reds, but I think the extra blues have kind of helped that a little bit, especially into decks like Jarl. We're currently at roughly 25 combo count, which again is pretty low, but I think that what we're adding to the deck adds a lot. Let's go ahead. So I've actually added like a couple of matchups here, and I think a cool strat that you can do in terms of like organizing your matchups by priority is like putting a little letter next to their name so that you do like A tier matchups, B tier matchups, etc. I've only done A for now because these are like the 5 matchups I'm focused on, but again, there are probably going to be other matchups with like the Hunted coming out and stuff. Yeah, so these are like the 5 main matchups that I'm focused on. And that's kind of what I've used to kind of inform a lot of decisions in this deck. So let's take a look at the choices. So chase aspect, we got our usual suspects here. We're not going to talk about those. What I have done is I've trimmed a little bit on some of our like 1 costs, so like a Breed Anger and Mauling Key. And if you can compare my list to kind of like the Nick Butcher list, what I've tried to add into to kind of like accommodate for that slot is like Red Pouncing Key, which I think really does synergize with this list. The question I get asked, I guess, most about this card is like, isn't this just worse Tiger Swipe? And it's like, yeah, it is absolutely worse Tiger Swipe. Like Tiger Swipe is just a strictly better card than Pouncing Key, but like a 0 for 4 go again is just very, very good baseline, right? So that's kind of like the thesis of this deck, is that having a 0 for 4 3 block go again is very, very good. We're also adding some Harmony Hunts in the deck. I think I've been on Jarl for the most part, so I'm not going to talk about Jarl very much. But Harmony Hunts has been actually like a very overperforming card, being especially good into like aggro race matchups where I guess you don't want the wax on wax off, which is kind of like Zen, for instance. Just enabling you to do like double chase is really stupid. Also just being like a good card to like cash a tiger for future turns. So if you do like 3 to with Gakara and then like Arsenal Tiger, this card's like amazing, right? Very, very good at just generating hand tigers, which is really cool. Yeah, so we're also running 3 of those in the blue slot just because additional blue is very good. And we're kind of like cutting the Biting Breeze just to kind of try these out. I'm still a little bit like iffy on some of these blues, but we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more. We're running 1 Cosmic main deck just because I think that it's pretty like minor to just run like a blue 3-block, even if it like bricks you off like an E-Strike or a Level Straw. I think a 1-of, like, you're pretty unlikely for that to happen, and even if you do, it's not like the end of the world. So we also have 100 Winds. 100 Winds also just pretty good in terms of filling like combo counts. Just very, very good, solid combo card. Also kind of enables you to do like 2-card Transcend. So this is like actually kind of an interesting point to touch on. So this list is kind of not, it's kind of drawing a little bit of a compromise, I guess, between like the full-on Harmony Hunt list where you just want to keep a 4-card hand as much as you can, right? And also being able to keep like a 2-card hand and like block 6 on like a CNC, right? So that's kind of like the theory behind this deck. So we have basically like 6 or no, we have like 10, no, 12 ways to like basically 2-card Transcend, which I think is really, really important, especially if you're trying to like develop out Chi in the matchup, especially against decks like Nuus and stuff. 1 of Pouncing Key just to be like an interesting Transcend starter. It being a 3-block is also like pretty solid. Same thing with like Key Unleash, just kind of filling a similar niche, but Key Unleash honestly has been a little bit on the chopping block. This might honestly change to like a 1-of at some point. And one notable thing is I moved back to Wax Offs, and I've been historically kind of critical of this card. So I want to kind of at least explain my thought. So I was looking at some recent like event data, and it turns out that like I think Zen has a roughly 45% or something like that win rate into Aurora, which is not what I've like experienced so far. I think the matchup is pretty okay for Zen, but this is just to get like even a minimal percentage chance into Aurora since it is one of the top decks at this point. So I think that's really why Wax Off has kind of moved back into the deck. It's also like kind of decent against New. So like New and Aurora are kind of like the reasons why I'm currently running Wax Off, just to like develop out Chi in the deck. I think it's kind of reasonable. All right, and with that, I've also cut on, I guess, 2 Wind Chakra. I cut down on 1 Wind Chakra just because like I think having 2 blue 3-blocks in your deck is like pretty fine. And if it's synergized with the Tiger stuff, I think that's also okay. All right, so let's move on to, I guess, the sideboard. And one notable kind of difference here between a lot of the other lists is that I'm not running any Weakest Link. Mainly because I have kind of a theory about Weakest Link in that it doesn't really help you all that much in matchups that you want it to help you. Take like Zen, for instance, right? If you play Weakest Link into Zen, a lot of good Zens are just going to like block with Traverse and block with Pouncing Claws and then a 3-block, right? And then you're behind on tempo after playing out Weakest Link. So that's what Censor is kind of trying to address. So you get a little bit extra damage, and you can also kind of hide the fact that this is the chain ender you're going to finish on, right? Because if your opponent only sees you like floating 1 resource, they are a lot less likely to play around Censor. And it also like enables you to do some like cool kind of play patterns where you can either choose, like if they don't block with Traverse, you can like choose to just not play the Censor like Arsenal it, which is also kind of like an interesting line if they do want to try to play around it. So this card actually has a lot of really interesting play patterns around Zen specifically. And it's just like a 2-card 7, which is really, really solid stats that blocks 3. So pretty big fan of this card. Again, this depending on like what the Hunted brings, this card like might change. Maybe even goes down to like a 2-of. One thing I was actually considering for 1,000 subs is to like cut just a random card from my deck and run 1 Tremor of whatever the fuck the card is. Just for the lulz. Because I think it would be really funny to win like an event on a list with Tremor. Yeah, but let's move on to, I guess, some of the React package. So we're running roughly 8 Reacts in the new, which I think is like the bare minimum you probably need. Or I guess if you want to count the wax offs, that's like 11 Reacts, but these are kind of like trash Reacts, right? So we're running like 11 Reacts, which I think is probably like the bare minimum that you need into new. Just because like I think the deck is very disruptive. One point of concern, I guess, with all these Reacts is that Weakest Link gets a little bit stronger just because of like the I guess introducing a bunch of like 2 blocks like Wax Off and like Snag and like Harmony and stuff like that. So that's my main concern with the deck. But I think the deck is in a good spot where you have enough 3 blocks. Like if we look kind of at our stats here, where's our 3 block? We're running like 34 3 blocks main deck, I think. I don't actually know. I have to like mess with stuff to see how many blocking cards we're running outside of that, but we're running a really solid kind of block package. We also have the other kind of cosmic in the sideboard just to kind of play around like CYB fatigue. 2 warmongers to kind of just pad blue count, and also they're just kind of like reasonable. I don't think you need like 3 warmongers at this point. They're like kind of whatever, honestly, for me. And yeah, 1 tide flippers on the board just for some AB, and that's pretty much the list. Yeah, so this list has felt really, really solid. Again, I'm still trying to iterate on some things. Like, I want to see if, like, we can maybe get by without, like, the wax on, wax off package, but I think it's, like, kind of fine for now. Like I said kind of earlier, I think if it gives you any percentage into Aurora, it's probably worth it just because of how represented that hero is. So, yeah, but with that, we'll go ahead and just get into some games. All right, we've got a new. All right, it's a good opportunity to test out the new board. So let's make sure everything looks right here. They have boarded out the blue Harmony Hunts, and I do want 1 sensor in. I think the red Harmony Hunts are also kind of weak. It's just a 2-block. Let's go ahead and try this. I think it seems reasonable. All right. Yeah, this hand's pretty good. All right, hit off the top. No. All right, giving him a passover is not ideal, but we can still work with this. So I think we will just do like a chase aspect here. Feels a little bit bad to do on turn 1, but it's probably fine, honestly. Could also just arsenal this. Like, we don't have to do the chase aspect line. We can actually get like a blue key unleashed or something. It's probably also reasonable. Takes a similar amount of cards out of their hand, and I guess leaves more threats in the deck for later. And gives us an arsenal. Yeah, I think it's better than actually just going for like a random chase aspect on turn 0. I need to make myself like a little bit smaller. All right, I've shrunk. Sure. All right, looks like they're taking 1, and then we have a key unleash for 7 here, which is actually pretty good. All right, love to see Codex out of the way. All right, they're opting to hold on to 1 card here. This kind of feels like a Bonds of Agony or something, but probably fine. Oh, we are very fine against the Bonds of Agony. That's kind of funny. Sure. Wonder what card they would keep instead. Oh, I guess like Transcend, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's a Transcend card, and maybe they just want to cash in the armor block. That kind of makes sense. All right, so you have Bonds of Attraction coming in. Depending on what they do here, I'm probably just trying to sync one of these reacts. Try to find like a blue or something. All right, so a Transcend card did make sense there. Sure. All right, they're opting to keep the Transcend card in hand. Is kind of interesting. We'll go ahead and take the Banish, though. All right, they get a Breed, and what is the other card they want to get? I guess Key Unleash is probably decent. Sure. So that's why we board out the Harmony Hunts here, notably. That's also why I've not been on Tiger Form Incantation, just because it gives you a little bit of weakness into that specifically. Okay. So, notable problem here is that we cannot block this incredibly well. So, another problem is, I guess we can like block with equipment here, but it's really, really early and we're not doing a ton with our hands. So I'm kind of just inclined to just take the CNC, which is unfortunate, but I think it's probably worth it. So I think our hand is going to be just Kakara plus Pitch, Breed Anger, and then Arsenal like Wax On. Probably makes the most amount of sense. Again, a little bit unfortunate that we drew triple react in a. I guess we have like 11 reacts in our deck, so it's like pretty semi likely for that to happen. I guess the question is, do we want to hold on to the wax on, or do we want to save it for the wax offs later? It's kind of a good question. I'm debating if there's like a real difference. I think that sync below actually might be more reasonable. Just because like, so my logic here is like we're going to be pitching wax off a lot through the course of the game, so maybe having these wax ons remain in the deck increases the likelihood of lining them up. It's kind of an interesting consideration. All right, we'll go ahead and bounce back here. Okay, really, really good hands. Not against double transcend though. Maybe could still be fine. It's interesting that they're doing this now as opposed to later. All right, they got a pretty good banish started so far. So this pass over also basically represents another card in banish at some point. We do have our snag though, so as long as we don't get Siren's Call, that's at least good for us. And even if we do get snagged, we can do like snag, or even if we do get Siren's Called, we could just do snag and a stir, pitch the stir to Zen, make a tiger, and then they whiff. It's kind of cool. Okay. Bro, what are we doing here? Sure. Do they not want to? Okay. Play the Passover. All right, there we go. Sure. So it looks like they're deciding what to get here. So they're going to have at least one chi in hand. All right, weakest link is a little bit rough here. We can just cover this, though, if we need to. I do kind of want to play a little bit around Siren. So they're going to mask us for sure, right? Pretty much for sure. So I guess what is the best hand we can keep? So we can block with like Aspect, Sink Below, Banish. What do we get rid of then? Get rid of a Censor. Could also send like 2-card 7 at them, and that's also probably fine. I think there are a lot of different choices here. I'll go ahead and just do the block Aspect Sink Below play, though. If they Siren's Call, we can at least, like, do something in response. So let's go ahead in response to this. Maybe, do we want to get rid of the snag? I'm honestly kind of comfortable getting rid of the snag, especially, like, with their CNCs. Like, they still have a bunch of Leave No's in the deck, so I'm kind of fine just getting rid of this for now. All right, we draw a Chase, which I don't think is the exact card I wanted to draw. It's like okay though. I guess we can probably afford to get rid of one Chase in our deck. I do think Snag is maybe better in the deck than Chase, but kind of an interesting line from them. Alright, they do it a Cosmic, but that's whatever. Still have one redundant one at least, and it doesn't look like they're CYB yet. It could very well be, but alright, let's go ahead and do Kakar plus Censor. I think there's maybe a consideration to blocking with Traverse there just to get the Chi so that we can, like, maybe send an Aspect or something, but it gets a little bit weird. Alright, Erase Face is not a card I typically see, or not a card I typically see played to great effect against me. So I think if the Censors hits, what are we going to name? What's, like, the worst card to see right now? Alright, they're still coming over for one. So on a 2-card hand, what is the worst thing? It's honestly probably Codex. I've seen one Codex already gone, though. Bonds is also kind of annoying. I think it's like 50-50. I'm going to go for Bonds just because there's more Bonds than Codexes right now. Maybe that's my logic. They also have their, like, equipment developed out pretty good. Alright, Scale Peeler, as always, we do not block. Alright, so we got a Beckoning. So I am a little bit worried about Codex here, but Unfortunate if that happens. All right, we do unfortunately see the Codex, so despite our hedge here, unfortunately we're getting a little bit punished. Let's go ahead. So they do have Tunic up notably, so they're getting a CNC. If they want to to pump a Rousing Wave on the CNC, maybe I'm kind of okay with that. Oh, actually, we should have. Oh, sorry. Hold on. We might have wanted to. Never mind. It's fine. You're good. All right. Well, so unfortunately here, I think I messed up a little bit. I probably should have not bought. Because I wanted to keep, I think, a blue in hand. Let's go ahead and just block 6 on this. It's probably fine to just send 3 at them anyways. Notably with that hand, Bonds of Enemy was also kind of bad. So I think it's not completely incorrect. I think we maybe just got a little bit punished, but is what it is. I do like that they're running Erase Face in this matchup because that has historically not been a very, very good card in the Zen. But we'll go ahead and pass it back. All right, hand could be decent. I guess the question is, what do we want to do here? So how bad is our hand if we get hit by this? Like, if they take a red, they take Growl. And then we can still do, like, Kakara and the Sensor, like, overpitching this. I think I'm just supposed to get hit by this. If they take Sacred Art, I don't think it's the end of the world either. Sure. So this is fine. Alright, so they will give Go again here. Sure. Alright, so I think it's better for us if they hit a red. Alright, they do hit a red, so that's good. A little bit lucky there, I think. Although I do think that we have better odds of hitting the red based on our board, just because we board out a lot of blues. So I may be kind of okay with this, depending on what their follow-up is. Alright, another Codex is a little bit annoying, but we'll manage. Alright, they do still have Tunic or Rousing Wave up. So I guess the question is, do we care? We do kind of care, right? We could honestly just let the Sensor go and then just send the Sacred Art hand, developing out Chi. It's probably worth it. And, like, if we do that, we're not priced into Kakaraing necessarily. So I think it's probably go time with Traverse. We also get to develop out Chase, which I think is important. We do lose out on the Sensor, but, like, there's not really an efficient way to block that. Well, So if we give Traverse, Pouncing Paws, and this, what does that look like? I think it's worse, honestly. Let's go ahead and just give Traverse here. There we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to undo. Alright. So unfortunately, they've seen all 3 of their codexes really early with CNCs, but at least, alright, we only have 1 CNC in the deck left to worry about. So I guess that's a positive. Because I think that Codex CNC is generally one of their better plays. But they're definitely using the codexes to pretty good effect here. All right, let's go ahead and develop out our Sacred Art, which I think is quite strong here. Notably, at this point, we also don't have to Arsenal for the rest of the game, which I guess is a positive thing. Especially with 3 Leave No's in the deck and 1 CNC. So the not Arsenaling strat, I think, probably begins now. I guess we can Arsenal like a Tiger here if we really want to. Not really thinking too hard on breakpoints here. I'm a little bit tired, but let's do Chase, Growl, Tiger, Arsenal the other Tiger. I feel like generally off Sacred Art, one thing I normally do is just Arsenal the other Tiger anyways, just because it only comes in for like 1 damage if you're, most of the time if you do like the full Sacred Art line. So like Arsenaling a Tiger for a later turn is often worth more than 1 damage. I think it's often worth like 2 to 3 damage, if depending on the hand, right? But Arsenaling a Tiger is very, very strong. Alright, we do have a big boy Tiger coming in for 6 to finish it up. Alright, I love to see a double block here. That is probably pretty good for us. Alright, we get some chi in the deck. We shuffle back our snag. We draw some more chi. Things are looking pretty good. Alright, so we haven't seen a Justinic yet. His hand still kind of plays, though. We could give them Pouncing Paws if we really wanted to, but this kind of feels like bait. Because they can, I guess if they give us a Rousing Wave, I'm kind of fine with that, because that means Bonds gets less good. So I'm kind of okay to just maybe block with Pouncing Paws. If they have Justinic, it's whatever. Like, I think that Pouncing Paws plays around 2-card Transcend, which I'm maybe a little bit more scared about. Alright, so we have the Justinic hit, and then we have the Persuasive as well. Alright, hit into red, which is, again, not even that bad. Theta blue, it gets a lot worse, but pretty solid here. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the Growl. Actually, I think we want to actually... No, we can start with Growl, sorry, it's fine. So we do Growl, 100 Winds, Tiger, then we Transcend on the Tiger, get Chase. We still have one Chase the Tail left in the deck, so we should be still fine there. And again, now that we've seen all the Codexes gone, we should play out the 100 Winds first. 100 Winds first, there we go. Alright, play out the 100 Winds first, so that we get the Transcend, then we play out the Tiger afterwards. Just because we also, one thing we want to distribute the Shuko triggers, the other thing is we want to hide the fact that we have Transcend. Alright, we've not seen any more Leave No's or Codexes, so we'll pass Reacts here. Then we will drop. Gain a resource. And then activate our boy. Grab our Chase. And then just send really efficient numbers with them. They still have 3 copies of Leave No and 1 copy of CNC in the deck, so like they basically like almost can't play them at this point unless we like mess up here, right? Like they're not going to do anything against us except banish, which I think is really good. Yeah, not having to Arsenal against New anymore does kind of feel like it frees up the matchup a little bit in terms of what we can do. All right, go ahead and pass it back. All right, we have a surgical coming in. So what do they take here if they surgical? So I feel like the best 2 cards here are like Chi and this. So if they take this, then we're left with just a good Transcend hand. But if they take the Transcend hand, then we can 2-card 7 into Arsenal Tiger Swipe, which is also good. So I feel like we're supposed to take this as well. If they mask us, I guess we just banish Tiger Swipe, and then they're left with similar problem, right? So I think they're fine to do whatever here. Alright, they did Wax Off, which is a little bit unfortunate. Their banish hasn't gotten a ton better, though, for what it's worth. We also still have, like, a ton of Reacts still left in the deck. Like, I think we have all of our Wax-Ons left. Alright, opponent plays out a Sigil, that's A-okay. So we do also have the option of just sending Censor and then arsenaling Rising Sun. It's kind of tempting as well. Is that better than arsenaling Swipe, though? Probably is. Seems a little inefficient, but maybe it's just better to hold on to Transcend. Kind of surprised they took the Pouncing Key out of anything. I don't know if that's the play I would have made. Alright, what do we want to name here? I think I'm still going to name Bonds of Agony. Which probably means they don't have Bonds of Agony. So one thing about Censor is that them letting Censor hit does tell you a little bit of information about what you should name with Censor. But I think I'm fine, like, just as kind of like a safety valve, taking them off of bonds, which they had anyways, right? So I think that ended up being really good for us, especially if they're struggling to use arousing and stilettos. Like the best usage for new for arousing and stilettos is on a bonds of agony, right? So if we just cut off that option, I think I feel pretty safe doing that. I do think we're slightly behind here, but I think that's kind of mostly due to some kind of awkward variance hands in the beginning of the game. Specifically that all D react hand in the CNC, it's like, whatever. Alright, so they're gonna activate new here. Their banish isn't that good though. Like, they can get 100 wins, and then they can send Harmony 100 wins pouncing key, which is 6 damage. And I guess they can banish a card from hand as well if they really want to, but like, kind of okay with this. All right, so notably one thing we want to do here is we want to pass blocks, I think. There is also kind of some merit to making like a Zen state against them. So I'm kind of almost curious if it's time to use Kakara or to use Kasaya, because we've generated all the research. Like we've developed a ton of chi in the deck, so I'm kind of inclined to believe that Kasaya might not be that good. And if they have Siren's Call, I guess how does that change anything? I guess we'd lose out on chi, but we still have a blue. So I'm almost inclined to make a Zen state here, just because they're gonna soak up probably a decent amount of damage. Sure, let's go ahead and do it. So we want to pass reacts notably, in case they don't stiletto. All right, but it looks like they are going to go for stiletto, which makes sense. All right, they'll slither as well. Yep. All right, so we pass reacts. So in response to the hit trigger, now we do Rising Sun, and then preserve. Let's preserve one of our chase back in the deck. It's probably our strongest target other than like Cosmic, but we don't have a Cosmic in graveyard. Gain a resource. Then we'll flip. Find a CNC. Is that worth it? Sensor does fit the curve notably a little bit better than CNC. They still have like a lot of threats in the deck that I feel like Sensor is pretty good to name. So I feel like I'm supposed to actually bottom CNC here, gain a resource, and then leave no hit. Sure. So they have Warmongers off the top. That's whatever. And I guess the question is now, do we want to Zen state? I think we probably are fine Zen stating, even if they like Siren's Call and take a bunch of tempo, which they can't do on this attack notably. We still get a lot of value out of the Zen state, so I think I'm kind of happy with that. All right, we finally see an Erase Face, which notably does nothing against our deck. So I am okay to take it here. They have one card in hand. They have a Rousing Wave, which they can use, but like, it's whatever. So we're going to take 5 here. I think Siren's Call is like the only card that they can realistically have that I would care about. But I feel like we've gotten a lot of tempo from this, especially if they're not going to be able to develop out like even the 6 damage from Banish, right? All right, so we'll go ahead and start with Kakara, pitching our Wax Off. We're trying to get a 0 cost here. I think our 0 cost, we have 100 wins, and we also have like Aspect, I think, still left. Kind of depends what we want to go for here. I don't think Pouncing Key is correct, just because we already have... well, actually... Yeah, because the problem with Pouncing Key is that if they block out Tiger Swipe, it gets a lot worse. So I think the correct play is probably just 100 wins, because leaving an Aspect with Chase Aspect is probably reasonable. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with 100 wins here. Do 1, 5, Sensor. And this is kind of the efficient play pattern I was talking about, and I think we're also getting really rewarded here for them using their codexes this early. Kind of changes the entire flow of the game if I don't have to have an arsenal every turn, right? We'll do 5 into 5, which is going to force some blocks here. So if we force blocks on the Tiger Swipe, I am very, very happy with this, right? And we'll follow up with the Sensor, which they're incentivized to block out since we do have the Zen state up, but I think if I'm taking new off tempo, I'm very, very happy with that. We still also just have access to our Pouncing Paws. All right, Mask also out of the way is very, very good for us. All right, so we've kind of hit a little bit of bad variance here in terms of like our react draws, but we're kind of doing okay here. This hand is like, I guess it's a lot better. Why do we keep drawing this hand, by the way? Like, isn't this like basically the exact same hand as earlier, except like minus the chi? All right, but we don't give a shit about bonds. Do whatever. I don't care. You got Justin Nick plus a Rousing Wave, we can block it. So it has to be Justin Nick here. Sure. So we pump to 10. So we can notably cover that for 9. I guess the question is, do we want to use Yellow Wax On, or do we want to use the Sink Below? So we do still, how many Wax Offs do we have left in the deck? We have 1 Wax Off left in Banish, and we have 2 left in the deck, so I feel like we're incentivized to keep a Wax On. Which means that we should probably just use these 2, right? So we'll cover 9 here, and then Zen State will soak up the last bit. Sure. Fully covered here. We'll just go ahead and activate Zen. Send our 1 card 5. And then get a nice little arsenal. They still have 2 Leave No's left in the deck as well. They also pitched a Bonds of Agony. So we only have 1 Bonds of Agony left to deal with. Okay, so we're threat tracking pretty well here. They do have like a decent cycle of Chi coming up at some point, but I think that's a couple turns away. Like, I think they have like 4, 5 Chi maybe on the bottom of their deck. It's kind of hard for me to tell. But we're still, I think we're ahead on tempo here. Especially if they give like bad blocks to this swipe. All right, we'll go ahead and pass Arsenal or Wax On. And I think we're sitting pretty comfortable this game. If they have Siren Skull here, we just probably blow them out. I love drawing all red hands against Nuus. It's actually my favorite thing in the world. All right, Surgical is notably a little bit annoying here, but I can at least still cover it. So what threats do they have left in the deck? Still have Venomous Bite and Hiss to worry about, so those are probably the 2 that I'm most afraid of. So they don't have Mask of Recurring Nightmares anymore, so we don't get punished for blocking as hard either. So I feel like it might be time to just give up Shuko. Use this to cover, use a Wax On to cover, send E-Strike bottoming E-Strike. Seems pretty efficient. Alright, so they have Venomous here, and we're able to fully cover that 8 breakpoint. Notably, they're pitching a Grain, but I guess we already knew about that, so we could have played around Grain, but they don't have anything else here, I imagine. I think there is a card that technically exists in the game that buffs like Contract or something, but I don't think we care. All right, go ahead and send the E-Strike for 7, which demands at least 1 card out of hand. All right, love to see a Leave No and a Venomous Bite, sure. So I think that's last Venomous Bite. Yeah, I think it is. All right, so it's only Hiss left in the deck too. All right, we're just drawing hot. Yeah, we're still drawing hot. So they can Siren's Call this. I guess how annoying is that? It's like reasonably annoying, but like we can still just like whiff it. So I think we're fine here. They Siren's Call, we just pitch to Zen and make them with. So we pass. Let Siren's Call resolve. Without base block, so they can't discard our Tiger if they want. So I think we should just Wax On this anyways. Send 3 and a 1. Still pretty decent. Whoops, sorry. All right. I think I'm on my turn, right? So we Wax. Pass. All right, don't pass too quickly. Send the Growl. Unfortunately, they didn't draw that Siren's Call a turn earlier. We do still have to worry a little bit about levels. I don't think we've seen a single levels. Yeah, right? Or they may have even pitched. Alright, go ahead and send the Tiger in. Get him down to 2. Still are sitting on Wax On for extra safety. So here I would expect another Siren's Call, honestly, at some point. All right, so we're pitching a levels here. I'm kind of curious if I'm supposed to use this wax on to block. So if they do Mistblade into levels, it's pretty bad for us. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting decision point. I feel like I might. All right. Well, now I guess we can just whiff the Siren's Call. So now I don't think it's levels. So I think we're just supposed to whiff that, gain the life, and then they whiff. So now I don't think like they can pull Tunic in levels, but I don't know if we care at that point. Because we can still just send our hand pretty efficiently at them. Okay, yeah, I'm A-okay with this. All right, let's go ahead and pop the pause. So I guess one notable thing about Wax Off in particular against New that's kind of interesting is that like you can use it to whiff Siren's Call, which I think is kind of cool. If you like draw it in the late game. We are a little bit running low on cards here, which is slightly concerning. But this will, I think, at least take 2 cards out of hand here. Maybe more, depending on how they block. So they block like this. I think this demands 2 cards. Still sitting on the Wax On, which is pretty good insurance. And like we're still ahead on tempo, even if we're behind on deck. And we have a react that we're kind of sitting on, so pretty okay with our position. I think we've seen all CNCs at this point. No, we still have 1 CNC left to deal with. All right, leave no witnesses is easy. So we'll just go ahead and use Wax On here. We have Snag also if we need to, but I don't think it's necessary. Yep, so we'll go ahead and just keep playing efficiently. They want to hiss this, like, doesn't kill us. So we are A-okay here. And notably, they're not on CYB, so I think the matchup has gotten... I think that... So, New, notably, I think is a lot harder if they are not on CYB. Just because they have a lot more threat density, and they, like... You can kind of lose a lot of tempo to CYB. We're also going to try to strip all the cards out of their hand here. We'll still do 1, 4, 3. Which should get there unless they have React. How many Reacts have we seen? We've only seen Sinks. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure what the erase face is. Like, I've seen this card play against me a lot more times than I'd care to admit. Alright, but we are going to go for the Pouncing Heat here just to get the last card out of hand. Because we're drawing towards a lot of cheese, so we're sending Kakara plus Tiger at the minimum a lot of the time. Alright, they do get to play out our Wax Off here, which is, I guess, a way to kind of stay alive. Alright, I guess not, right? Because I guess they would need to hit a Wax Off the top. Maybe it was a hit. Oh, wait, they can actually banish? They can... Oh, no, they can actually stay alive here. They can banish the Homage, which is really funny. Okay, they probably didn't want to stay alive, but let's take a look at kind of like what threats we're ruining our deck. So we still have Chase Aspect in our deck, so that's pretty good. At some point, our Cosmic got banished. Where's our other... Oh, our other Cosmic's in graveyard. Okay, so I think I, like, deprioritized the Cosmic, at least in my brain, just because I kind of saw that they weren't on CYB Neo, but we still have, like, a decent amount of threats in our deck. Like, we have 2 CNCs, E-Strike, like, this is plenty enough cards to kind of close out the game, especially if you're ahead on tempo, which is kind of like the win con into New, is to just always be ahead on tempo. You'll win a lot of games just trying to focus on tempo as opposed to, like, deck size and stuff like that. Yeah, but that was a pretty good game. Let's see if we can get another. All right, so we got Jarl. Jarl has been getting a little bit better, honestly. I think I do like to, like, fat deck a little bit, not fat deck in terms of, like, stuff, but in terms of, like, blues. I do like running CNC. What cards do we not like? Harmony Hunt's, like, kind of mid. Maybe do something like this. I think this is, like, roughly a 31 card deck. This seems fine. This is mostly just for blue density. All right, so we've got a weird hand to start it off with. So we can do... What do we want to do here? We can do Kakara... 100 wins, E-Strike draw card is probably the best line here. I think a lot of Jarls have also kind of pivoted to more of like a CYB kind of game plan. I'm curious to see if this is that list. All right, go ahead and draw a card here. Arsenal Breed Anger is mid, but okay, I guess. All right, looks like... So I don't know if this is true, but the Earth Jarls have seemed a little bit more CYB than normal Jarls, I guess. I don't know if there's a huge difference. Like, I feel like there's like Ice Tempo Jarls, and then there's also like just the Earth kind of CYB list. So I think here our plan is to just like send Mauling Key or something at them. If they pummel us, like, I'm kind of fine with that. This hand sucks anyways, right? Sure. They want to pummel us, I'm okay with this. Alright, so pummel trigger, we'll discard 100 Winds, and then this we cannot pay, unfortunately, so we'll discard it. Sure. I think conserving life total against Jarl is also like very, very reasonable. This hand's a lot better though. So let's see what they got here. I think Jarl's a lot like Victor to some extent, where you want to like be taking off turns every once in a while, because they do have like a lot of reacts that they seem to be running. All right, we have a Cadaverous Tilling here. It's kind of a newer inclusion. Don't think we care though. I think we're just trying to develop our drop here. Send a good hand at them. All right, so do levels drop. Unfortunate that drop in the ocean is the way it is, but still not terrible. Then what do we want to get for a card here? I don't want to get Key Unleashed because we want to leave blues in the deck. I want to be able to Kakara pretty safely. I kind of feel like 100 Winds is like fine. Just get a random 2-block out of our deck. Seems okay. Then we can just do Drago on the levels. Try to draw into a blue just in case they want to like Blizzard or Stalagmite or whatever. And we do draw into a blue, which is good. I guess I have Noon. If I had known I would draw into this, maybe I'd go for Chase, but it's kind of risky to go for Chase anyways with this hand. Alright, so I feel pretty safe Kakaraing here. Do Kakara plus Tiger, then we have this to play for Blizzard and Stalagmite. Sure. So it seems pretty likely they have a Blizzard here if they're going to try to go for this, but this could also just be them trying to develop out Summit or something. But we can comfortably pay for everything here. Even if it's Blizzard. If it's double Blizzard, I guess we get owned, but whatever. We don't actually even get owned that bad. It just means we have to pitch Tiger Swipe. Seems somewhat likely they have Blizzard here, or at least like a CYB or something. Not sure. So this matchup has gotten a little bit tougher just because I think a lot of Jarls are trying to like first cycle their Oakenolds instead of like pitch stacking them or trying to like line them up. I think that Oakenold's one of the stronger cards in this matchup, so that kind of makes sense to me. It's just like trying to get Oakenold as soon as possible. All right, blocking with an Eisen here. Okay with me. All right, send out the 100 Winds, send out Tiger, send out Tiger Swipe. And we're still safe here against Blizzard. Alright, not going to decompose this one. Does that mean that they're just trying to fill up Graveyard for like a Felling potentially? I will go off an Arsenal just in case they're representing Plowunder. I think we're okay here, just send Swipe. Alright, this looks like they're blocking with Frigid. It's kind of interesting. Oh, we also had 2 resources floating, sure. Alright, really, really solid hand. Especially if Jarl is taking an off turn like this. Absolutely. Alright, how do we want to start this off? So I think we just want to do Harmony and Rising Sun and then try to Arsenal this. So let's go ahead and hit off the top. Hey, that's what we like to see. Then I guess We can lead off with Thunder Winds. It's probably fine, right? Do like 2-1-5 or something like that. Let's see if we can get a little bit of information out of them before we commit to anything. All right, they do have Blizzard. How do we respond to Blizzard? I guess we can pay with Key Unleash, so we don't actually want to use Rising Sun in response. Because they could punish us with like a second Blizzard. But I think this is fine. Alright, so now we're less incentivized to Kakara. Alright, find a Preserve. Huh. I think Preserve is generally a better card than Path Will Travel, so I guess we'll go ahead and get rid of it. Feels a little bit weird to do so, but maybe it makes sense. I guess here we'll just go ahead and get like a breed. I think we still have a breed, right? No, we do not. In that case, we can get Mauling here is probably acceptable. And we just arsenal this. Notably in this matchup, like arsenaling Chi is very, very good with Kasaya to just pay for stuff. Alright, so now they do have double Blizzard. We'll let the Jarl trigger, I guess, respond first. And then I guess we can preserve, and then we can Kakara afterwards. It gets a little bit funky, but maybe it's fine. Let's go ahead. I think putting levels back in the deck is pretty reasonable. Get our resource. There again. Pay 2 in this Blizzard again. So the sequencing is a little bit weird here, but we're getting an extra 2 damage if we do it this way. So kind of okay with this. And their Stalagmite's not going to be doing very, very much, if anything. And we also get Chi in the deck, so like I think everything here is pretty good for us. Notably, their crumbles like a little bit early, but not like super, super early. This is like a pretty like mid-game crumble. All right, go ahead and Kakara, and then we'll finish on the Mauling Key. So we should be fine here unless they have third Blizzard. But if they do, then they got us at that point, right? All right, see a Winter's Bite block. Very fine with that. And finish on Mauling for 6. Okay, cool. So we take him off tempo. We don't have to worry about crumble. Yeah, so things are looking good. Bottom Chi. Draw this hand. This hand's like great, right? So you can just do levels transcend. Just keep up the tempo. Do we want to get Chase a Tail here? It's like pretty safe. We do have 1 Blizzard left to worry about, but like should honestly maybe just go for it. And like even if they do have Blizzard, we're not necessarily getting punished for this. So I think it's fine to go for here. We'll do draw go just in case we draw into another blue, which we do. It's a little bit like inefficient here, notably, because we have to like play out the Harmony Hunt, and that means we can't really Kakara, but it's kind of fine. I guess we weren't Kakaring anyways in case of Blizzard, so I think we're pretty safe here. All right, go ahead and send in the Tiger. This also makes their Stalagmite like pretty bad, and we also just get to sit on Chi, which I think is really solid. All right, play out our silly little chase line. We've also seen 2 Channel Lake Privilege, which is, I think, also pretty good for us. I think that card is generally quite solid. Alright, Stalagmite here, also not doing very much, so very happy to see that out of the way. Ooh. You know, alright, 1,000 subs, we gotta hit them with the Content Awakening, right? They're like, absolutely mandatory that we do this. Like, also, I think it's just the correct play. Alright. Sure. Notably, we do have to do it on the summit, I guess. We could use our pounce. We could actually Content Awakening for 2021. Oh wait, that's actually advanced content awakening. We'd have to use our pouncing paws, which is like objectively wrong. But on whoops, sorry, whoops. All right, we're in reaction, so unfortunately we can't do that. But I think that content awakening is still reasonable at 20. I shouldn't have passed reacts though. Let's go ahead and banish. Do you want to banish an earth card? Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and just banish CLF. All right, your stalagmite has go, or sorry, your summit has go again, as LSS intended. And then you know we gotta hit him with the better guardian attack, which is so stupid. Why is this card coming for 20? Like, give guardian a card that comes in for 20 if you like pitch stack a bunch of shit, right? Like, why is this in ninja, right? Like, this makes no sense, but it's very funny anyways. Yeah, but like Cosmic, this is why I like Cosmics in the deck, because it is basically just a win con against Jarl. Like, Jarl sees Cosmic, like, what do they even do, right? Block 8? Like, it's pretty bad. All right, they're gonna give our next content awakening go again, which I guess is good. All right, happy to get a content awakening for 20 though, for 1K. All right, what's the last card? Okay, I didn't know there was a scroll bar on this, if I'm being honest. I feel like this is the first time I've seen a scroll bar on this in a while. Is this new? Fascinating. Okay, sorry. I lied. Apparently they are able to block 18 of the 20 damage cosmic. So I severely underestimated them there, unfortunately, but it's still really good for us. All right, this hand's kind of bad, but we'll make do. How do we want to make do? Just send Kakara into CNC. It's fine, right? Don't need to overthink it. This hand just kind of sucks. Imagine I talk all that shit and we like lose somehow off a Cosmic for 20. They've used like a ton of resources though. Huh, actually, I wonder if there's a way to use Go again here. I don't think it matters, right? But we could CNC. We had a Quicken token, right? I guess we could have done like CNC into Chase for 2 extra damage, but that's fine. All right, go ahead and pass back. If they attack into us at any point, we could just, all right, this could be a CNC pummel. It's kind of rough. Do get blown out pretty bad by that, but there's not really a ton we can do about it. We could just do like a chase line at them. We still have 1 Blizzard left to play around though. Maybe we should still go for it anyways. If they have the CNC pummel, they have it. All right, don't have it, which is really, really good. That is, I guess, a lesson straight out of one of our kind of tutorial vids on make your opponent have the thing that they're threatening, right? Don't just like have them sit on it and like block inefficiently. All right, let's go ahead and send the tiger. Leaving a little bit of resources open here because now we're open to Blizzard for 3, unfortunately. Although notably, I guess we're fine against Blizzard for 3. So we can Kakara regardless here. I guess the breakpoints are a little bit better if we do it the Kakara first. I think that's maybe just a remnant of me playing around Double Blizzard, but Double Blizzard is no longer real. Sure. Fish on Aspect here. Then we'll do Kakara. I'd like to see an Oakenhold block. We are unfortunately IPing ourselves a bit here, which sucks, but at least we're IPing ourselves with the blue, so it's not the end of the world. I guess we could have maybe played out Harmony, but then we're opening ourselves up to potential punish with the last Blizzard. I don't know what's correct there. Notably, they blocked with all 3 Eisen, so they don't really have like a late game AR. Oh, we've seen 2 Oakenol blocks as well. That's probably really good for us. Alright, we'll go ahead and pass back. Alright, so we have a Winter's Bite, which is, I think, okay with us. Let's go ahead and pay 1. Well, our hand is like really, really bad. I guess we can like pop Pouncing Paws and do something. Sure. So we'll go ahead and pay 1, pitching whack. Pitching sick blow, I guess. This is why reacts are sometimes a little bit awkward in Jarl, just because like you can kind of brick off of them pretty bad. But here I think we're just gonna pop Pouncing Paws and send a little bit of damage. If it's not much, but it's honest damage. We unfortunately have to give up our second piece of armor, but I think that the second piece of armor is a lot less important than the first piece of armor. And this just gives us like 6 extra damage if we do this, so very okay with this. Alright, we have the Oakenol. No fuse. Do they want to fuse? So they have Pummel. If they have a Pummel, I don't think I care. So sure. Show me what you got. Okay, we do have the Pummel. We don't have the Pummel. We do have the Pummel. Sure. Pitching a red. Sure. How do we want to do this? I kind of do just want to use the react to get it out of my arsenal, if I'm being honest. We can maybe save Sync for a more opportune time. This hand's like a little bit awkward, but I guess we can just like sandbag Sacred Art. So I think here I'm actually just going to... No, pitching Chi seems wrong. I think we're just supposed to discard Harmony. Alright, so discard Harmony Hunt. Leak a little bit of damage, but we're still very, very far ahead on tempo. And I think here we'll just go ahead and start with Kakara. If they want to Blizzard us, I'm fine. IPing with Chi. Alright, activate the Zen. We're notably not going to play around Blizzard here, but we don't really have like a better option. I guess we'll just get Swipe. If they want to Blizzard or Swipe, I'm kind of fine with that. You can play it out if we really want to. Depends on, I guess, what they do. Alright, seems like no Blizzard. We do still have 1 left to worry about. But we're in a very fine spot here. I think the way that I normally lose against Jarls is if they have like really good CNC pummels, like Lupine, or if they line up like an Oakenol just super early. But we've already seen all 3, which I think is very, very good for us. Alright, let's go ahead and Arsenal Sacred Arts. Alright, a little bit of a clunker of a hand. But we can kind of just like efficiently block here and then send Kakara plus like pouncing or something. Yeah, seems fine. Let's go ahead and block. What do we want to block with? Doesn't really matter, right? They're all going to go to the graveyard anyways, basically. Alright, send our 2-card 5. They want to Blizzard us, also fine. Alright, pass it back. Alright, unfortunate hand from them a little bit. What do we want to do here? This hand kind of sucks as well. I guess we can like mono transcend if we really want to. We can actually mono transcend in response to the hit trigger. Kind of sucks though. Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. I almost kind of like blocking with just the remainder of the armor and chase. Is that our last chase? It is our last chase. Yeah, it's like fine though. Just be efficient. Just overpitch you. I want to use Sacred Art as kind of our kill condition here. Alright, and then we'll overpitch the Sync just because I don't think it's doing a ton for us here, especially with this in Arsenal. Alright, they have the Blizzard. That is, I think, okay. Fortunately, we IP with the 100 wins, so I guess maybe actually we're supposed to send 100 wins first. Probably the move, but kind of the same result either way. Right, we have a Winter's Bite, sure. Getting taxed a little bit more, but they can't like follow up with Summon here, so still fine. Let's go ahead and do what? I guess we can just send an Easter egg at them, pitching 100 wins and then buffing. Seems efficient. We're kind of running them out of cards here as well. And like we're very far ahead on tempo. I think the problem with Summit in this matchup is that if you ever just Summit, you die, kind of. Just because of how low impact Frostbite is against Zen. Like, I'm very happy to take 6 from this, like, 95% of the time. And Zen also just blocks 6 incredibly well, so, like, you can block it out super efficiently, too. The Canopy Shelters are kind of like a cool include, honestly. Just being an Earth card that also conditionally sometimes gives you a might to make breakpoints more annoying. Alright, we have another Winter's Bite, but we're still fine with this. So I'll pay 3 using Wax Off just to play around like a 6 attack. Okay, and we have a CNC, which is annoying. I feel like I'm kind of the opinion we're just supposed to get hit by this, but we could also just block it out and we're probably fine the same way. Kind of fine with block out, honestly. They're kind of out of threats at this point, and like we still have, I think, 1 Cosmic left in the deck. Should have 1 Cosmic left in the deck. So like this is what you can kind of do against Jarl sometimes, especially if they lose a lot of their premium threats, which is like Oakenolds and see they're out of Oakenolds, they're out of CNCs. They have 1 Pummel left, notably. Glacial Footsteps, I guess, is also kind of like a threat card sometimes. All right, I think here we're just gonna go ahead and pay with Chi. This also plays around Frostfang potentially. All right, coming in with the Summit, which again we don't really care about Summit, so we're gonna take this. All right, Wind Chakra. So I think we saw our last Blizzard, right? Yep. So we don't have to worry about Blizzard anymore. Go ahead and just Sacred Art. Let the Wind Chakra resolve. We can get Pouncing here. I don't think it matters a ton. Yeah, Pouncing's like fine. And we'll just go ahead and send in our Tigers. So 4, 1, 4 should be good. Seems like they have React here. That's fine. And yeah, we have the option to actually Arsenal Tiger. I think that's fine as well. They can't summon this turn, notably. So it should be another piece of disruption. Okay, Fellings are a threat that we actually haven't kept track of. So notably, Felling, we have 1 more copy left in the deck. That's kind of scary. Let's go ahead. How do we want to do this? I think we're just trying to do Kakara plus CNC. So in that case, we should just put a Cosmic on the bottom. Then we do 2. We can do 2, 1, 1, 6. Or no, we can do 2. Do 3 and a 6. You can also just block with CNC and do 2, 1, 5. It's probably better. Damn, the Jarl's actually kind of come back a little bit in this game. But they're like super out of threats. Like I think the only threat left they have at this point is like 1 Felling, 1 Pummel. I think we take them off Felling here if they have it. Because they need to give us 2 cards. So they can't Felling anymore off of this hand. Which means they can save for next hand, but then like we're pretty likely to just kill them next hand. Yeah, they kind of stabilized here, which is a little bit scary. Like, I think this matchup has gotten a little bit harder from the Zen side, especially against like especially if they line up like any amount of Oakenolds, it feels a lot closer. All right, see some blocks out of them. All right, this hand will do it. Go ahead and pay chi. They'll pass. We can just Kakara here. Get 0 cost. Tiger, pouncing key. Profit. We'll get Red Hunter wins, I guess. This should also strip their hand pretty bad. I think they get to keep 1 card here, but they're almost out of cards in deck, which is kind of weird. So this demands a card, and then I don't think they can Felling at this point. All right, does Content Awakening for 10 do it? That takes 4 cards out of hand, and they have 1 card left on deck. Sure, I guess it does it. All right, double Content Awakening. Much sadder version of it, I guess. I guess if they ever react here, this is maybe a punt. We didn't really keep a track of how many root bounds they had. This could actually be a punt. But they're like so far out of cards that's probably like fine. Okay, Pulse is also a card that we didn't really keep track of. So now they can Felling, but I guess it's still fine, right? They have 3 cards left in the deck. All right, we might have punted this game a little bit, but wouldn't be Flesh and Bad without a little bit of punting. All right, past that, sink, pass, sink, pass. Force them to block with 1 card. Actually, can we force them to block with more? Do we have another pouncing left in the deck? See, 1, 2, 3. So no, we do not. I think we're just gonna Kakara then. Yeah, we pretty thoroughly decked them at this point. So they have 2 cards which they can summit, but then they can't summit the next turn. Sure. So we'll block 3 here. I didn't see what those 2 cards were. I don't think it really matters, right? Yeah, we'll just double Transcend, kill him. Kind of a tight game, though. Like, I think we did fuck up on multiple points for Cosmic Greed, but Cosmic Greed is good. All right, good game, my friend.